Right, we're about to go live. So here we go. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So it's a very special live stream today. I'm doing a guest interview on another platform on Let Us Live Facebook live stream, and my son's in the background saying hello. So we're going to be doing two different, we're streaming simultaneously from two different platforms, one on YouTube, one on Facebook. So whichever platform you want to join us on, join us either on My Family Garden or join us on Let Us Live Facebook page. So we've got 10 people in the house. Let's see who else is joining in. We normally get quite a good bunch jumping in the live stream. So let's wait for a few comments to pop up, and I'll try to bring the audience in. But we're gonna have predominantly it's gonna be a conversation, and you guys can jump in as well and get involved as well. So over to you.
All right, tell us where you are located and tell us your name and where we can find you so that we can make sure our audience is supporting your gardening journey as well.
So my name is Motin Ali. I'm based in Leeds, UK, or Leeds, England. It's in north of England. It's about zone 7A, zone 8, that type of area. But we don't quite fit into the USDA grow zones because we're impacted by the Gulf Stream, so we're never as hot in the summer as we're supposed to be if we're in those zones, and whenever it's cold in the winter as if we're supposed to be in those grow zones. But what we do is we grow a lot of fruit and vegetables in our backyard. I mean, as with a lot of people, we don't have loads of access to land. We don't have loads of access to growing space. So what we've done is we've taken that on and said, right, okay, we want to grow, and we're going to grow right in our backyard. So we grow everything as a family in our backyard. My mum is mainly the brains behind the operation, and she's the one who's passed on all the knowledge. I've gained a lot of knowledge from my mum and from my dad when my dad was still alive. But with the stuff that my mum's passed on, I've sort of adapted it and try to fit it into a UK climate and bring it in that way and make it work for us because my family is originally from Bangladesh, so it's India, very warm, very tropical. Yeah, you can. There's 6 seasons over there, so it's not just the 4 seasons that we're used to over in the northern hemisphere. But there's 6 seasons over there, and they can grow pretty much all the way all the year through without any issue. I'll explain that later. I don't know enough. My son's asking what happens in each of the seasons, but
That intelligent question. We grow all year here too. 12 months out of the year we're able to grow.
What was that? Sorry.
We're able to grow 12 months out of the year here.
Okay. Oh, but you're quite south, aren't you?
Yeah.
So it's quite warm.
Close to the Gulf.
We're more close to sort of New York, Pennsylvania type of climate. So, I mean, I lived in Pennsylvania for a while. I went to university in Indiana, Pennsylvania. So I came over there for school and did a year out there.
Okay, and so tell us where we can find you on social media, your YouTube, your Instagram. Tell us where we can find and support your work.
So I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and it's all on as My Family Garden. So if anyone wants to come over, I'm very easy to find. I've got a Facebook group, probably the most diverse Facebook group around in gardening. We've got people from all over the world. We've got people from all types of different backgrounds, and it's one of the nicer groups to be in. Yeah, they're a good, friendly bunch, quite supportive, really decent like that. So yeah, it's called My Family Garden #Team Spanner. And I'm on Twitter, My Family Garden, Instagram, My Family Garden, YouTube. I've kept the same name all the way across all platforms, so pretty easy to find.
Yes, so that makes it simple. You also follow him on my_family_garden on Instagram and on YouTube, My Family Garden, and Twitter, as he mentioned. So tell us, let's jump right into it. What led you to gardening? What experience led you to the journey that you're currently on?
I mean, we started gardening. My family, when they came in Bangladesh, they are farmers. They've grown for generations. They've grown food. They've grown rice. They've grown vegetables. They've grown fruit. Um, so
He's learning a lot of stuff today.
so he's gonna learn. He's gonna learn loads today. Um, so the generations of farmers going all the way back as far as we know. Um, but since we came to the UK, since my family, I mean, I was born in the UK. My parents came over in the 60s. My dad came over in the 50s. Um, and they came over basically after the Second World War to help rebuild this country. So I mean, they came over from the former colonies to build this country back up after the war. My dad worked in the steel mills, and we lived in sort of terraced houses. And I don't know if you know what terraced houses are. They're the old style houses with, on one side we had a few feet of concrete, and on the other side it was um, we're straight out onto the main road, so no green space, and they're connected. Houses on both sides. Um, and what my dad did was he had an allotment, and allotments are basically small patches of land that ordinary people can get access to from local authorities, from the councils, from small local government, um, and they can get access to a small piece of land and grow on that. And my dad maintained that sort of thing for a good while. Come on, say hello, buddy. Um, so my dad kept the allotment, and oi, he nearly caused an accident. So the other camera just nearly went flying. So this is what happens over at our place. We're working, and then all of a sudden we've got the kids coming in, and they'll take over. So I hope you don't find that disorientating, because I sometimes do.
Yeah, we have to work with the babies, right? We want them interested. And so for all of you that are maybe just popping on, welcome to Live from the Garden. I am Karina, creator of the Let Us Live Edible Garden movement. Together we'll tour backyard gardens, farms, rooftops, and other inviting spaces, all with the hopes of getting you to get out and get growing. We have Mothin here with My Family Farm, and he's on Instagram under my_family garden, and then on Twitter and YouTube, and he hosts a YouTube channel that has a wealth of information that every week or every couple of days he's doing some DIY videos. He's visiting on podcasts, but has a lot of relevant information, and I hope you all hop over to his page. We're doing something interesting today. We're simultaneously recording. He's recording his weekly live on YouTube, and I, of course, am recording my live here on Facebook. So you all, if you have any questions, pop your questions in on our timeline, and we will be going back and forth. I'll be answering questions from his viewers, and he will be answering questions from ours. Now, so pronounce your name, because I feel like I'm not saying it correctly.
It's Mothin.
Mothin.
Yeah.
Mothin.
There's a few people that we need to say hello to. There's quite a few people that have joined us over on YouTube, so let's say hello to them. So we've got Sam, Karen, who else? Yusuf. Let's see. So we're doing something a little bit different today. So we're streaming on multiple platforms. We're doing a collaboration live stream with Lettuce Live Farm on Facebook and Instagram. So we're broadcasting across multiple platforms at the same time. So I hope you don't mind if I don't speak to everyone like I normally do. So apologies for that, but let's get back to this. So like I was saying, I mean, with the piece of land that my dad had, I mean, after my father passed away, we my mum couldn't keep that piece of land, but she wanted to keep growing. So I built her a couple of raised planters, a couple of plant pots and stuff in that 4 feet of concrete, and she kept on growing. She grew some amazing stuff just in that small space. So she was growing courgettes, or zucchinis, salads. She was growing beans. She was growing gourds. Gourds are one of the staples that we grow in our garden. It's one of those absolutely really culturally important vegetables for us. So we grow a lot of that, and we sort of lived in that terraced house with very little space up until about 12 years ago, when I mean, after I went graduated from university and I finally started working, we were able to buy our own house. So we bought a house. You learn some. So so I got so we bought this house, and it's got a really nice garden. I mean, it's 50 meters long, um, about 25 meters wide at the bottom. It's sort of an L shape, and I'll take you around, and you can have a look at the garden as well. I mean, if you're on, those of you who are on my regular channel, you'll know that we've got loads of videos on there. So there's loads of stuff, loads of information that I'm putting out every week. So I do at least one video a week. Sometimes I do two, sometimes I do more than that, as well as put videos out on Patreon. So it's starting to become a full-time job. I mean, you'll know, you'll know as well. But to put one video out and to edit it and put it all up, it takes a lot of effort.
It does, and that's why I try to do at the beginning of of my lives. I try to do housekeeping notes to let people know how they really can support the work that we do, because it really is a full-time job to deliver valuable content. And if we don't, in the algorithm, unfortunately, with all of it, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it's all a numbers game. And to get us up, we need engagement. And so to bring more valuable content, you don't need more value, you need more followers and viewers, because it does become a large responsibility. And I think I read one of your posts that was talking about how people keep pulling at you on Instagram. They want more and more on their social media platform. And sometimes it becomes overwhelming. Yes, we want to deliver good content, but to deliver good content, and Kira is on here. She has a garden page, and she knows it's a full-time job and it takes a lot. But to how can you help us? Because I don't want to rant about it without giving a solution. The solution is, when you see a live or when you see a post, just like it, do an emoji, smile at it, share it, and that changes the algorithm so that more of us can get in the room and be relevant in the garden space.
I mean, let me just adjust this camera a little bit. Uh, so absolutely, I mean, one of the things that post was about was I support a lot of people. I mean, I'm happy for people to come along and promote their channels on my page. If anyone who wants to work together, I don't care about the size of their channel, or how big they are, how small they are. If you want to work together, I'm happy to work with you. I'm happy to work, with pretty much everyone. I haven't got an issue with that. I mean, I usually do a live. I, so I've got running commentary in the background, so don't worry about that. I mean, I've got a Facebook group where a lot of Facebook groups on gardening don't allow people to promote themselves. For me, yeah, come along, drop your links, drop your channels, drop your links to your blogs in a little bit, son. So drop your links to your channels, drop your links to your Facebook pages, your YouTube channels, whatever you've got. Just come along. I'll push you up as well. But some people, I mean, despite all of that, they do try and take advantage.
Yeah.
and they want more from you, and they want more, and they want you to, they try and pull you in different directions, and that can be a little bit too much sometimes. Um, I mean, just on my personal profile, um, someone who likes to watch my videos, but is really right wing. Okay, she's not just right wing um, economically, but right wing in terms of race and equality. And I've had to say, right, enough's enough. I can't take any more of your nonsense, really. I can't take any more of the stuff that you're pumping out and accusing. You know, there's people. You know, there's a football world European Cup final tomorrow. England are in a major tournament final for the first time since 1966. So, but the England team have been taking the knee, to protest against racism at the start of the match, and now she's basically saying these are Marxists. I don't think she understands what a Marxist is, right? She, but she's gonna tomorrow, so tomorrow at 8 o'clock. But she's pushing this sort of narrative that these are Marxists, so therefore what they're doing is completely nonsense. That is meaningless. But the thing is, if people are opposed to a peaceful protest, there's something wrong with you if you're opposed to a peaceful
Right.
protest. Full stop. Now they're not harming anyone. They're saying, right, this is the thing that we can do to oppose racism. This is the thing that we can do to stand up for equality. I mean, you'll understand as well. I mean, when I started YouTube, since I started YouTube, I get comments every week. They're more than troublesome, but I get comments every week. Um, you know, all the way from accusing me of being a terrorist, to disrespecting my religion, to being out and out racist,
Hmm.
attacking my children, all of these kind of things. So I started a campaign. I started a campaign called Dig It Out. If you haven't seen the campaign, it's called digitoutcampaign.com. There's a website. So it's a campaign that's been launched to fight for equality within the gardening sphere. Because there we go. One of Karen's just put the hashtag Dig It Out in the comments. That's absolutely right. Beautiful. So we've started Dig It Out. I mean, I did a video about some of the comments that I get. Since I started digging out, lots of people have come forward and said, right, you're not the only one. We've been getting the same sort of abuse. We've been getting the same sort of. I spoke to one lady. So she's a white lady, but her son's mixed race. Okay. So she was at an allotment site, and people on the allotment threw stones at her because she had a mixed race son. I mean, it's 2021. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then people are saying, right, okay, we've had enough of taking the knee, and we've had enough of gesture. They call it gesture politics. Protest is not gesture politics. Protest is what has won the rights of ordinary people. So it's
And
it's
then I
crazy. I
agree
mean,
with you on trying to change the way this space looks, and and it's not easy, but we push through it, and I believe this, and I say this often, is if you find a gardener, most people that are gardeners, farmers, or growers, they're giving. They're just naturally giving and want to cultivate relationships. And so I say, if you reach out to someone and they're mean or hostile, just pop over to the next page, because 9 times out of 10, that person, the next person will be helpful. And I think that I love my gardening community. There's so many people, that lifelong friends that I've met, and when I'm able to travel, I look forward to traveling across the world to meet these different people and to tell their stories and then put a face with the name and then break bread or break soil with them. And so let's take it back a little bit. Your family is from Bangladesh, and you said that you came from a family of growers. And when your family was growing in Bangladesh, can you paint, or if you can recall this, can you paint a picture of what that looked like, what your community in Bangladesh looked like, what the growing community looked like in Bangladesh?
I mean, absolutely. I was lucky enough when I was about 10, 11. I was able to go and spend a year in Bangladesh. So I was born in the UK. I've spent most of my life in the UK. Um, but for a short period of time when I was a child, I was able to go out there and spend a year out there and live, just the normal life out there. I went to school. I went to primary school out there as well. So I mean, we've got a few. We've probably got about 20, 30 acres of land over there.
Hmm.
But a lot of paddy fields, so they grow a lot of rice. There's a few hillocks that my family have got, and on those they grow jackfruit, they grow mangoes, they grow bananas, papayas. So papayas, all kinds of amazing, amazing fruits. Loads of citrus, pomelos. Oh, absolutely. If you'll see them in the supermarkets over in the UK sometimes. They're called honey pomelos. If you open them up, they're like massive grapefruits. You open them up, it's like a huge grapefruit, but they're sweet. They haven't got that acidity that a grapefruit has, but they're absolutely amazing. I mean, the mangoes that at my grandparents' place, my mum's side, in her village, the mangoes from the tree outside her village. Um, those mangoes are I can still remember the taste. It's just it's an experience to go out there.
And does it you they taste totally different than what you're getting now? The mangoes taste different.
I
The
mean, in the UK, everything's imported.
Oh,
We don't get tropical vegetables like that. You can't get
right,
anything like that. So it's
right.
all picked when it's unripe, and by the time it gets to the end consumer, it's travelled a couple of thousand of miles before it gets to us, and then it's nowhere near the same. I mean, that's one of the things that when we grow our own food here, I, I'm someone who doesn't like tomatoes. I don't like tomatoes because I've eaten tomatoes from the grocery shop, and they taste bland. They don't taste of anything. But a couple of years ago, I've grown my own tomatoes, and the family eat them. But I was one of those people who didn't like tomatoes, and then I picked one of the tomatoes up and I just put it in my mouth, and the taste was completely unbelievable. It's completely different. And another vegetable that I've started eating since last year, broad beans, right? Broad beans is fava beans, I think you call it in America.
Hmm.
Um, and I've had the ones that are frozen. They come in frozen mixed vegetable packets, and I think they taste rank. Yeah, let's be honest, it tastes horrible. And then, but I grew broad beans as something to build fertility for my soil. So I grew broad beans, and the plants grew up. I chopped the plants down, composted, mulched it down, and in a little while, and composted it down. But a couple of years ago, we just said, all right, let's eat some and see what they're like. And since then, it's like, okay, these are all right. We can get on with it. So
Yeah,
hang on, my son wants to show you a picture. So this is one of the things that happens. We get the we so he'll sometimes pop in.
So
There you
here's
go.
the first picture. It's got the first stickman. One has been
It's one of the
shot
things
by
that
a
happens
zombie.
in our
There are
place.
two, and the two zombies
If
just
you're not
jumped out of
used
the
to it, it
helicopter.
can be a little bit.
so we
Okay,
have an artist on our hand.
There,
okay.
one of them,
Show that screen as well.
one of them
Wow.
is
Okay, I see a
in
helicopter.
and
Nice.
but
Okay,
and the shot in the one and the two lookouts. One of them is gonna get bit by the zombie,
okay. Let's get back to it now.
and one of them is climbing out of the window
Okay,
and ready to go in the tunnel to go,
please. Okay.
and the other tunnel to go to, which is surrounded by zombies.
All right,
There's
let's.
some battlefield stuff and maze door thingy, a portal, tunnel
Do
hole.
you know, if I let him, he'll just
No,
take
no,
over the
no.
live stream and show you his pictures all day. So, Taib,
Wait,
I'm
this
gonna have
is
to,
this
Taib,
room.
Baba, I'm gonna have to ask you.
No, this is the bathroom. This is where the
Okay, look,
some guns are.
Baba.
Here's a weapon rack. And here's a target room. Sorry, the rest of it. But here are the bunkers now.
Okay, Taib, I'm gonna have to ask you to stop now. Okay,
I'll show you the rest
you
later.
can show them afterwards. Okay, good man. Go and read Asr. If you haven't read Asr, no, go and pray Asr.
And so
So,
when you purchased your home and you bought your first garden, what was the size of your initial garden? Did you
I mean,
start
before that,
small or kind of
before
large?
I mean, before we moved to this house, our garden was our garden was literally about 4 feet of concrete. So it wasn't a garden. It was on one side you were on the main road, so you came out of one door and you were on the main road. And if you came out the back side, you had a few feet of concrete, and that was it.
So you were
Um,
growing in pots?
in pots, in raised beds,
Okay.
just recycled in old bathtubs. So just whatever we could get hold of, really. I mean, we never really had a lot of money. Growing up, my mum raised 4 kids by herself, so 4 young kids, a single mother. It's someone who doesn't speak English as well. It's not easy. It's not easy
Yeah.
for someone like that. So and society doesn't make it easy either. For single mothers, they don't make it easy. Um, but she did a. I think she's done a good job.
And so your grandparents and your great grandparents were farmers, right?
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So there's a lot of knowledge that's been passed down. Um, it's some of the things that we're trying to. We've got the neighbours' kids in the background, so there's a lot of background noise to this. You'll have to be patient.
No
Uh,
problem.
I mean, this is why it's my family garden, because the kids will just come in and take over. So we can be talking about one thing, we can be doing work on a project, and then you're completely distracted by something that's going on in the background. Guys, be careful with that. No, 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 no. Put that down. Put that down. That's too big. My daughter's picking up this massive log.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, well, why don't we, since they're in the background, why don't we go ahead and start our tour? Why don't you kind of take us around and show us
Right.
what you
Okay.
have?
So let me get you up. How do I turn the camera around? Oops, that's not doing it, is it? How do we turn the camera around?
You probably tap your screen so you can see the little continuous circle. Sometimes you have to tap your screen so that you can see that little circle to turn around.
If I can figure this out, then I can get you.
No problem. Well, as you figure that out, I'll do
There
some
we
more
go.
housekeeping
There we
again.
go. There we
You
go.
are. We are live in Leeds, England, or the UK. I'm always excited about traveling to see my garden brothers and sisters in all parts of the world. This is really what this show is about, is to inspire you by showing you other gardens and other rooftops and backyards and pots to inspire you, to give you new ideas, and to tell you you can too do it regardless of the size. Everybody can grow and everybody has a green thumb. So, okay, Mothin is going to show us his beautiful growing space with his family. And then we're going to pop back over and start talking about the food pantry that he started to address the needs of his community. So we're going to pop over to Mothin and he will give us a tour of his beautiful family backyard. All right, take it over. It's your turn.
Just give me a second. I'm just trying to turn this camera around, and that's not working. Why is it not working?
Okay, so as he works on the other camera, again, thank you all so much for joining Live from the Garden. We are live every Saturday. Help us spread the word. If there's a garden that you think we should be touring, or somebody's garden that you'd like to see, somebody's growing space, somebody's farm, please tag us, tell them to reach out to us. We'd love to have them on our Live from the Garden series. We have been all across the world. We've been in Canada. We've been in Denmark. We've been in the UK. several times. We've been on the East Coast and the West Coast, and that is with your help because you're helping spread the word. So thank you so much. We've got Mothin who's going to switch his other camera around and give us a tour.
So the other camera's not working, but let's try. I'll work with one, and I'll talk to the other one at the same time.
Yeah, I see your face on your channel. You can't figure out how to flip that over.
I can't on StreamYard. Oops, nearly dropped it.
All right.
No, it's not working. It's not working. It's not working.
It is now. I think I see Garden. I did a minute ago.
Let's just try it this way. Here we go. We'll try it that way. So what I've got here is I've got some gourds growing. So that's my first bottle gourd growing. I mean, like I was mentioning, these are really culturally significant plants for us. And they are growing just over an arch. Just so if you come down the garden, you've got this arch. And
are those gourds edible? Are you growing those to eat or to make?
Yeah, I mean we grow those for food. They're one of the staple foods of Bangladesh. A fig tree. It's the first year that we've got figs on this tree. So it's about 4 years old. It's grown quite into a little bit of a monster. But it's the first year we've got figs.
We're frozen. I can't.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
Our live,
this is a garden area that I've created new. So I did a video about a month ago. Oops, what's happened here?
I don't know that he can hear us. We're frozen. We can't. The screen on the other one is frozen.
On the other video. Let's get that back on.
All right.
So I think I lost connection, but hopefully I'm back.
Yes.
But this garden space is something that I created new, and it's growing really well from what it was. I mean, this was all grass about a month ago. So just a month ago, this was all grass. It's not. I mean, and the way I created it was just wood chips on top of cardboard on top of grass, and I've got squash, I've got sweet corn, I've got chilies, loads of chilies over here, sunflowers at the front, carrots. My old wheelbarrow's over there, so I've had that wheelbarrow for about 10 years, and it started to rust and fall apart, and I've turned that into a planter. So I grow my carrots in there now. So I've got sweet corn, squash. I'll take you into the greenhouse in a little bit, but let's go around the rest of the garden and I'll show you what's going on here. So I've got potatoes in buckets over here, tomatoes. We've got some tomatoes turning. So if anyone hasn't seen some ripe tomatoes, tomato. So we've got those growing. Beans over there, chard, beetroot, more tomatoes, more potatoes and kohlrabi, cabbages, another gourd vine. So I built this gourd arch quite new recently. So some people were building work close to where I live, and they were throwing a load of wood out. So I just picked that out of the rubbish, and I brought it home, and I've made a nice arch for my gourds to climb up. And we've got tons of strawberries. You look down here, you can see. Okay, there we go. So I hope you guys can all see on my YouTube channel. There's a few people stopping in and disappearing again, but let's see. So down here we've got more cabbages, tomatoes everywhere, more sweet corn growing. We harvested the last of the peas yesterday. So we picked the last of the peas. We've got more tomatoes, more cabbages, and here's a nice little arch. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed with these arches actually. I bought a few of these arches thinking they'd be a bit sturdier, but they're quite flimsy. So I'm not gonna. So don't know how long they'll last.
Cow
Down
panels.
here,
I've been using cow panels. They're a little bit thicker and hardy, a little bit more durable
see cattle
and
panels are one of
cheaper.
the things that we can't get in the UK, so we don't have anything similar. And it's something that would be
Oh
quite useful
wow!
actually. So here's a garden, another little bed where I had my garlic growing. So the day after I harvested my garlic, my squash went in. So straight after squash and tomatoes planted at the front, and the squash are just going to climb across the bottom. And I've got potatoes back here. I mean, I've got quite an interesting technique of growing potatoes. If any of you don't know, I grow potatoes in wood chips. So if I show you down there, if I can show you down there, there's about a foot of wood chips mounded up on the ground. So I'll basically make a bed with wood chips and then just plant my potato on top of the soil, and then I've got loads of wood chips, and then I'll mulch the top of that. When it comes to earthing up, I'll earth up with grass clippings, leaves, anything that I can get a hold of. So I try and grow for as cheap as possible. So I don't like to spend money. For those of you who know me, I don't like to spend money. I like to
And
try
then
and grow for as cheap as possible. And what's that, sorry?
do you add compost? Do you add compost to your wood chips, or is it just mainly the potatoes growing in wood chips?
I mean, the potatoes just grow in wood chips, so I don't add any compost. I might add a little bit of cow manure if I've got it, horse manure if I've got it, but yeah, I don't add anything else to it. I don't water it. I don't waste my time watering it. I just leave it as it is. Here's another little arch that we've got. We've got runner beans or pole beans that you call in America. Cucumbers and gourds climbing up that side. Onions behind them. Tomatoes. Over here, we've got more. I mean, we've pulled the last of the lettuce that were growing outside today, and we've got some more sown, and they'll be planted out in the next few days. More tomatoes, beetroot, more onions. Another little arch over here with more pole beans climbing up, or runner beans. And you were talking about compost. So, I mean, I'm a compost. One of my fans calls me a compost connoisseur. I love my compost. I make lots of different types of compost. So I've got this is my massive worm bin. So I've just added some grass clippings in there, but that's mainly chicken bedding in there that's composting down, and it's been fed on by the worms. Hot compost over here. That's due for a turn. The next few days we'll turn that, and then another pile that's on the go. One of the nice things is one of my neighbours. One of the nice things is one of my
Can you
neighbours
go
brings
back to
over
the
a lot of
compost
wood
because you
chips,
are actually frozen?
a lot of stuff. Yeah, he drops over a lot of leaf clippings and stuff.
All right, you all. We're trying to get
So
reconnected, and so that you can
I
see
think I
the
lose connection with you
compost
when
in
I go
the
down
worm.
to the bottom of the garden. So I walk back up this side. So more cabbages and more stuff. So it's turned into quite a nice garden. Let's have a look. These are the kids. So Dave, you want to say hello?
Hi.
You can say hello.
Hello.
So
That's my brother,
I'll
Zachary. His real name's Zachary. We just call him Zachary for short.
so let's go into the greenhouse and have a look what's going on in the greenhouse. So how is everyone on here? So we've got Rob the Kilted Gardener, David Carlisle. Sorry guys if I seem to be ignoring you a little bit, but we're trying to do this other thing and trying to combine two live streams at the same time. So it's working out the technicalities a little bit. But in here, this year, it's a heavy focus on chilies. I like chilies. I've got chilies growing everywhere. So I've got Hungarian hot wax there, a lot of really hot Bangladeshi
Mm.
naga here, some aubergines or eggplant, like I think you call it in America. Um, more really hot peppers, green chilies, some more. There's a Trinidad Moruga scorpion over here, and we've got a few fruit set on that. So let me show you around there.
And
So we've got a
where do
few
you get
fruit
your
set on
pepper
there.
seeds? Are you getting your pepper seeds
I
locally,
mean,
or are you saving seeds? Where are you getting your chili peppers
I
or
save a
chili
lot of seeds,
seeds?
so a lot of seeds I'll just save. If I get a pepper that I like, I'll just take the seed out of that and plant that. So I don't, or we on our Facebook group we share a lot of seeds as well. So people put up if they've got any extra seeds, they'll just share them out. If they've got any extra plants they want to share with each other, they send them out. But a lot of the stuff I save my own seeds. Um, every now and then I'll buy some new seeds to top things up and bring in fresh DNA into the mix. Should get that insecticide. Okay. So yeah, more. There's a Dorset naga there. That's going to turn into a massive plant. It's already about a foot and a half, 2 foot high. It'll turn into about a 4 foot, 5 foot plant very easily. More aubergines, eggplant at the back. Um, uh, yeah. So overall, I mean, I'm still not 100% on where it's going, this garden, but it's doing well. I think it's doing well. I'm really happy with this area. From compared to what it was just over a month ago, to what it is now, it's come on leaps and bounds. I mean, there's a video on me making this garden, and all it is wood chips, hedge tripping. So the when I clip those hedges, all the clippings from there, I just pile them on, loads of wood chips on top, loads of grass clippings on top, and that's it. That's all it is, and it's growing really well. Those squash plants, just
Do you all
they're
have
romping away.
squash
They're
vine borers?
absolutely. I
Do
saw
you
your
have a
video on
pest that eats
vine
your
borers actually.
squash?
I mean, one
Do
of the
you
good
all
things
have
that
that
I've
problem?
got, I'll take you over to my pest control system. Uh, I've got these little monsters that I let out onto the garden. So let's say hello to these guys. Come here, say hello.
Ah, yes.
So these guys, I let these guys loose on the garden quite often. So anytime I don't have small plants, I'll let these guys out. They'll walk about on the garden. They'll do a lot of my pest control for me. They eat a lot of the insects that cause a lot of damage. They'll destroy all of that sort of stuff, and I mean they're absolutely essential because this is my main composting system. So as you can see, there's wood chips on the ground. There's lots of leaves, lots of veg peelings and stuff like that. So I just pile all of that in here and leave the chickens to do their work. Every 6 weeks or so, I can come in and collect a ton bag, one of those big dumpy bags of uh, that builders use. So I can collect a ton bag full of compost every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and it's just these guys doing the work. All I'm
And
doing
so,
is just
did you say that you all do? Because some people don't have the squash vine borers. Do you have something that typically eats your squash,
so, I mean, I'm
pumpkins?
quite lucky because the chickens control a lot of the pests. I've not had vine borers over here. I mean, this year my biggest problem has been with aphids. So aphids have been causing me real issues this year. Those little green
And do the
insects that are
chickens help
on
control
the
that?
chilies.
Your
Aphids
chickens
they
help
don't.
control
I
your
mean,
aphids?
I've never seen one before.
aphids aphids in the greenhouse, they're not they don't help control the aphids in the greenhouse. Outside, I use a lot of interplanting and intercropping and companion planting, and because I do that, I can manage the aphids outside. But inside the greenhouse, I can't manage the aphids because it's more of a closed environment, and because I'm growing a lot of tropical plants, and the UK is not a really chilly growing country. I mean, they don't grow here naturally, so they need a lot of care and a lot of extra. So they are under a lot of stress here. So they do grow. They are susceptible to attack. And if I show you down here, this is a hotbed that I use, and I use this to. So it's a compost pile, and I use this to heat my greenhouse. So in winter, I produce a lot of hot compost in here, and this heats my greenhouse and allows me to grow through the winter. But the problem with this year is there's an ant's nest. So let me just disturb these guys, and you'll see them come running out. So give that a little kick. There you go. So I've got lots of little ants, and these guys are farming the aphids, which is causing a bit of a problem for me. So I'm gonna head back up towards the other side of the garden, and I'm gonna sit down. Let's turn this thing around as well.
Let me ask you.
Just 1 second.
So, okay, no problem.
Oh, sorry about this, guys. I've just dropped you guys.
Hey, you all, this is what it's like when you're a one-man show trying to grow your audience, grow your vision and your platform. I get it. We're in here trying to grow our dreams.
So yeah, so that's pretty much the garden. There is a new area that we've got, which is just behind me. So I've got another greenhouse over there, just behind me. So you can see another greenhouse, and in there's loads of chilies and a few tomatoes as well. But we grow lots of different types.
You have 2 greenhouses on your property?
I've got 2 greenhouses.
Can you do like a pan view? Can you do like a slow view so we can see the whole entire landscape?
So if I turn around here, so this is from the very top of the garden, and let's see, there you go. That's the whole garden. At the very bottom there. Yeah, I hope that was okay.
Yes, that's beautiful. Lots of space. And it's like Sarah said, she was like, it seems like the kids enjoy being outdoors. And that is a beautiful thing to hear. Kids' footsteps and laughing outdoors in this day and age is a beautiful thing. And so
we have a rule in our house, and that rule is if it's not raining, you can't be inside.
Ah, love it. Y'all hear that? If it's not raining, you can't be inside.
So it's as simple as that. If I catch any of them inside, that's it. There's trouble.
I love it. And so let me ask you, most of your food, because you have a lot of growing space and a lot of growing area, are you're growing enough food for your family, and then do you find that you're donating it to the community and neighbors?
I mean, overall our growing space is quite big. I mean, it's not massive, but it's quite big. And because the season's quite short, we've got vegetables for from May till about September. We don't buy any vegetables from outside. Everything's homegrown. But we've got something from the garden to be eaten all year round. Do you know, whether it's just a bit of salad or whether it's some kind of stored vegetable, but there's something from the garden that we can be eating all year round. At this time of year, I mean, yesterday I picked a few buckets of potatoes. I made some chips. I got my chips, guys. I finally got my chips. So I'm a bit of a chip muncher if I can get them. And yesterday I pulled a few buckets of potatoes for chips, and straight away we kept a few. Some of the neighbours got a load. I mean, the kids that you can see in the background, they're not all mine. There's 3 of them that are mine. There's 2 of them from the neighbour's house, but they're spending all their time here. I mean, they're picking fresh peas off the garden. So as soon as I'm in the garden, they're like, okay, go and pick us some peas, go and pick me some strawberries, go and pick me some of these. Like, yeah, come on, I'm loving it because when kids are doing this is the sort of stuff that they're never going to forget. They're going to keep with them. They're going to be growing with them, and they're going to, they're going to take it with them into their future lives. And they'll never leave this sort of stuff behind. They'll keep it with them for the rest of their lives. It's the same. It's the memories that I grew up with.
Yeah.
You know, when my dad had his garden, and me and my brothers and sisters, we were running about on his allotment and causing trouble for him. But I mean, he didn't mind. He welcomed it. He loved us. He loved having us around, and that's the thing that, yeah, that's the thing that I'm trying to do here as well. So hopefully these
Yeah,
guys will carry on the legacy.
absolutely. And I think it is so imperative that our kids, one, they see us with our hands in the dirt, and then they see us being kind to the animals and then kind to people. And there's a study, I mention it all the time. There's a study out that says people that are earth kind and kind to animals are naturally kinder to humans. And so I think the two to go together. And once we realize that we rely on animals and we relying on the soil, I think we will be kinder. Tarsha says she loves it, and Sarah says this is amazing, and she loves your yard. I think it is amazing. What type of impact do you think that your gardening? This is a twofold question. What type of impact do you think your garden has on your community and your family? And then, as you answer that, can you transition into telling us about the food bank that you started for your community?
Um, I mean, first of all, for my family, it's the most important thing because my mum, my mum's 72, so she's a pensioner. She's coming up to that age where she's having trouble getting out and about. But she, because we've got the chickens, we've got the vegetables. It's something that gets her. It's something that motivates her to get out of the house and get involved with the chickens. I don't look after the chickens. Most of the pruning work my mum does. While I go to work in the mornings, and I don't come and I don't finish teaching till late at night. So the only time I get in the garden is on a weekend. But my mum's she's tinkering about with the vegetables. She's planting something here. She's moving something there, and it's something that's keeping her fit. The kids, I mean, you can hear the kids in the background. They're running around all over the place. They're jumping about, but they're eating fresh vegetables. My daughter's picking strawberries. She did a video on YouTube a few weeks ago of her going around picking fresh strawberries, picking fresh peas, picking beans, and they're just munching. How many kids can you say that just have gone up to a pea plant, picked a pod of peas, peeled it open, popped all those peas into their mouth? Kids don't do that anymore, and
No.
they're getting that. My neighbours, one of my neighbours, she's a single mother with 3 kids, and we're trying to get her into growing, but um, in the meantime, her kids are over here. They're picking vegetables, they're picking fruit. One of my other neighbours, he's an old man, he's an old man just coming up to retirement. He grows flowers, but he's never grown vegetables before. So this year, I've given him loads of chili plants. I've given him loads of bean plants, and said, "Right, Uncle, there you go and plant them. Get on with it." And we'll get a few. I'll have a little bit of a competition with him and see who can grow the hottest chili or something. just, but it's just some things like that. I mean, my neighbours, they know that this year they've struggled getting tomato plants from B&Q and places like that. So they normally go to the garden centres and get tomato plants, but they struggle. But they know if they knock on my door, they're going to get tomato plants and a whole lot more, whatever they want, and it's not going to cost them anything.
Yeah.
So, but for that, they're dropping me off bags of leaves. So if they're trimming the hedges, they're not sending that off to landfill. They're sending that onto my driveway, and I'm composting it. And So we've got a party going on next door, and they've got this massive PA system. I mean, earlier on they had the music blasting so loud it was rocking our walls. So
Oh
it does
wow,
get a little bit loud.
I don't think we can hear it. At least I can't hear it. So, and going back to what I was saying, the impact that it has had on your community, it seems like from what I hear you saying is that one, it has impacted your mother and her health and her well-being. Like your mother is it gives her life and it gives her something to do by being able to come out and care for the chicken or care for the gardens. And then with your neighbors, you're building relationships and they know that they can count on you. And there is a give and a take with your neighbors as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the guys is just. I mean, they're commenting on the noise that they can hear. But, Karen, if you see the side of the speakers are as big as I am. They're huge. They've got this massive PA system set up outside that yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's having a really positive impact on us. Sandy, what do you think of the garden? Hey, you tell everyone what you think of the garden. This is my daughter. So I mean, she's gonna be the one who's gonna really take this trip over. Do you like gardening?
Yeah, can I give them a quiz?
After, but do you like gardening?
Yeah.
What do you like growing most?
Sunflowers and sweet corn.
Sunflowers and sweet corn. What about your peas?
And peas.
And peas. And what about your strawberries?
No.
No, you don't like growing strawberries. Okay.
She doesn't like growing strawberries. Do you like eating strawberries?
Do you like eating strawberries?
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves eating strawberries. Um,
Also,
yeah.
got water. I added 2 red currants, and I cut up some strawberries, and I added some raspberries as well.
So she's making strawberry flavored water.
Ah, sounds delicious. And so I can see the impact that it's having on your family because as you said, where do you see kids that just walk outside and grab something from the yard and eat it? And Tarsha was saying that it reminds her of visiting her aunt in the country as a child. And just those footsteps in the garden, and to your point, you just remember that. It's just nostalgia. Something will happen and that brings back memory. So it has impacted your community, right? And then you mentioned that you and a friend started a food pantry because you saw a need and you thought that you were the answer to that need, and you all weren't waiting for somebody else to fix that problem.
I mean, that's one of the things. And it's not in the city that I live in; it's the neighbouring city. It's about 10 miles away from where I live. But there were a couple of friends that I know. It's in their local area that we saw the rise of homeless people. And one of my friends just said to me, right, what we're going to do about it? We need to do something. And I said, okay, right, you want to do something, grab some food. So the first night, his mom and his wife cooked about 40 meals, packed them up into containers, and 3 of us just started walking around the city centre with carry bags and containers in our hands and just said, found people who needed some food and said, here, there's a warm meal here. And from there, we did that. We were out on the streets. We under there's some arches in Bradford where a lot of homeless people congregate. So we set up a stall there, and anyone who could come along here, no questions asked. Here's some food. We started talking to different people, and we started bringing in clothes donations and saying, okay, right, it's winter time. Here's a hot blanket. Here's a sleeping bag. Here's a tent. Here's a hot meal. Whatever you need, we've got it. Come on. Over the course of a year, I mean, the very first video that I did on my YouTube channel was a video of us setting up that food bank and what we were doing that night. Over the course of a year, we finally moved into a building. We got some rented space, and we started from feeding 20 to 30 people on the first night. We're regularly handing out 150 meals a week now. So we're handing out 150 meals a week to people who need it, clothes, ladies' toiletries. these are things that a lot of people forget that are needed for people who are struggling. I mean, people remember food and they remember clothing, but they don't remember toiletries and especially sanitary products.
Yeah.
There's a real need, and so we've got those kind of things on offer every Sunday. We're there 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock. Come along, get some food. It's just off Manningham Lane in Bradford. If anyone doesn't know it, and it's called JKN Outreach. Yeah, so and it's all run off public donations. We're not getting any funding from any government. We're not getting any funding from anywhere. It's from the few donations that we get, on our GoFundMe page. And where there's a shortfall, it's the three guys who set it up that are dipping into their pockets to pay for it.
And can you imagine if every one of us just tried to make an impact in our area? I mean, you're all the way in another neighboring community, as Sarah mentioned. But if each one of us tried to make an impact where we are, then the world would just be a better place. We all have the ability to make a change. And my hat goes off to you for seeing a problem and then deciding to be the solution to that problem.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The thing is, every one of us can do something. Whether it's just in from my Islamic background. Even a simple thing as a smile is a charity. Smiling at someone, you haven't got lots of money, but smile at someone, you can change someone's day. It's just something as simple as that. Kindness just goes a long way. We can have these massive projects and we can try and change the world, but you can make little impacts on every time you meet someone, every interaction that you have. Same thing for yourself. You can have these sorts of impacts for yourself and make our own lives better. But yeah.
I heard someone say it here in Houston, and he said he works with homeless a lot, but he said just asking them what is their name and then calling them by their name, asking what is your name, and then saying, hey, John, have a good day. Hey, Sally, have a good day. Because people see them as homeless and not people. And then when you address them by their name, it really catches them off guard. And I learned that probably about 10 years ago. And when I do come across someone that I think is homeless, I always say, hey, what's your name? And I think they almost forget. It really catches them off guard just to say, hey, what's your name? Oh, well, John, have a good day. And I think that, as you said, that, and yes, Tarsha, I agree wholeheartedly. That is my new saying, what you just said. A smile is charity. Give a smile if you don't want to give anything else. Make eye contact. I think that's huge. And so as we wrap up, I always like to ask a few questions, which is, if we were to come to Leeds, where should we go and eat? Where should we hang
My
out?
house.
Your house. All right, you all. There it is.
Without any issue, everyone's welcome. I mean, one of the problems that one of the things that I wanted to do last year was I was going to do an open day at the house and just say right, whoever wants to come over, I'll set up a barbecue. Come over, we'll have a little bit of food. You can have a little wander around my garden and ask me a few questions if you want. But COVID got in the way, so hopefully, maybe not this year, but the year after, definitely I want to get back to that idea and say, right, I can have 50 people here. I can have my neighbors will provide the music.
There you go.
But
there you go. The neighbor, they won't even know they're providing it.
I'm sure they'll be partying that day as well. But yeah, I mean, I can have 50 people here. We can have a few. We can have a barbecue. We can have a tour around the garden. We can learn from each other. That's one of the things that I want to do. I wasn't able to do it last year. Probably won't be able to do it this year because of COVID and the situation with that. But hopefully next year I want to get onto that. But in the meantime, I'm just getting out in the community and going and visiting different people's gardens. I mean, I was in Birmingham a few weeks ago, and I saw an absolutely amazing garden. He might even be in the live stream. So if Nitin, you're in the live stream, I'm talking about your garden again. Uh, but absolutely phenomenal. Do you know, he's set the garden up using recycled materials. He's built this massive greenhouse that most people would dream to have as some, feature in their own backyards. I mean, I definitely would. He's got slides coming out of trees for his kids to play on. He's got sculptures that he's made for his beans to climb up and birds to climb up. Absolutely amazing. I'm so impressed by that garden. Yeah.
And so, speaking of seeing someone else's garden, if you could go anywhere in the world, anywhere, where would you like to go to either visit a garden or a green space? Where's a place that you haven't been that you've always wanted to go?
I mean, there's a gardener working out in Japan, Masanobu Fukuoka. I mean, he's passed away now, but I take a lot of inspiration from his teachings. You know, he was one of the founders of no dig gardening. So a lot of people don't know who started gardening, but he was one of the people who brought gardening to the mainstream. No dig gardening. And his philosophy was growing without, just growing in a natural way. He was talking about growing right. I mean, he started growing rice without paddy fields. Who's ever heard of growing rice without a paddy field? He was growing rice without paddy fields. He wasn't digging the soil. He was just providing a layer of mulch and planting the seed. And again, he was growing trees in a really natural system. He wasn't pruning them, just allowing them to grow naturally grow tall. And because of the way he was growing, he was able to cram a lot more into his space. I mean,
and what's his name again?
Now.
The name?
Masanobu Fukuoka.
Okay, you'll have to DM me that.
I'll text you. Yeah, I'll text you.
Good.
But if you look at his natural farming and his natural way of system, he wrote a book called The One Straw Revolution, and that I think should be on every gardener's reading list. It's such an important book that unfortunately in the West he's not someone that's known about that much. His ideas are, because his ideas have been taken on by lots of people and regurgitated, but he's a name that people don't know. I mean, the way I created the garden that I showed you, where I've got all the squash and sweet corn growing. I mean, his system of growing is just put stuff, pile down mulch and plant. That's his idea. So that's what I've done. I mean, I've just put down loads of mulch. I mean, that's one of the things that I saw my uncle doing when I was in Bangladesh as a kid. Was they'd take out water hyacinths from the water. So the water hyacinths are quite invasive over there. I mean, they're everywhere. They get everywhere. So they'd take piles of that stuff out and just leave it in a big pile.
And what is that called again?
It's called a water hyacinth. So it's a floating water plant. It's a floating water plant, but it's an invasive water plant over there. So they take it out of the water and just leave it on the land. And then within a couple of weeks, it's starting to break down. And then they'll come and plant a tree into there, or they'll come and plant a gourd into there, or they'll come and plant some kind of shrub into there, or a banana or something. And then because you've got a 4-foot high pile of organic matter that's breaking down, it's just feeding this, it's just feeding the soil, it's feeding the plant. There's no need to compost. Plug that back in. Khadija, you're taking my charger out. Just plug that back in. Yeah, I mean, so there's people who've been doing no dig for generations, and just because we don't know about it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. And that's one of the things that I get with Masanobu Fukuoka, that I like saying his name and talking about him, because his ideas are the things that most no-dig gardeners use now, but they just don't know who he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a guy that visited our farm today from St. Lucia, And I love gardening with other people. I especially love gardening with people from different parts of the world because I learn something new every time. Their techniques, the things that were brought over here, and like you said, the original founders or the original creators of the process not receiving credit because it's been passed down, passed down, passed down. But every time I garden with somebody from another country or a different culture, I learn some really valuable lessons, and they all end up being something that's better for the earth and better for the plants.
So, just 1 second, I've got to get back to this comment. Karen's saying she wants to crash at ours. Karen, we've got a bedroom spare, so you're going to bring everyone over. You could just come and pile in there. You're not going to get a sofa, you're going to get a nice bed for you. Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you. Just because we've got a special guest on today, that's why I am slightly ignoring you guys, but I do apologize for that.
You can run through some of your comments to see if you have anybody that some of our viewers may have. It may address some of their questions.
So I mean, a lot of the comments, a lot of people have just been having conversations amongst themselves, and I do apologize for ignoring you guys. So Rob the Kilted Gardener, Rose, Drop, who else has popped in? I know Dean was here. Pure Pondering, I think. Yes, son. All right, we'll get you some burgers on in a few minutes. Just give me a minute. Quite a lot of people have. I think we've gone past 9 o'clock where we normally cut off, so quite a lot of people have knocked off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully soon we'll get that barbecue done and we'll get some people over here. I mean, I'd love to see some people. You know, I'd love to get out. If I get an invite somewhere, I'd be out as well. So that's a hint to you guys to give me an invite somewhere.
Well, if you're ever on this side, you are always welcome in Houston. It's a stretch, but if you're ever on this side of the earth, we would love to host you. Again, you all, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate this opportunity because we're in another part of the world, but we are learning how we actually can see what it looks like to do community and family together, to have your family integrated into your garden. Someone put over here, yeah, it's a family affair. I think Amanda may have said it's a family affair. Yes, it is a family affair. And I think that is the way to change if your kids didn't initially grow up growing food or interested in vegetables, that is one of the easiest ways to get them to start liking vegetables, because 9 times out of 10, if you grow it, you'll taste it. And if you taste it, you'll eventually eat it. We had another follower that doesn't like tomatoes, but she grows a different variety of tomato every year in hopes of finding that one tomato that she likes. Persistence. That's what you have to do. So I have a couple of people that are asking, are you on Instagram and where can they find you?
I mean, you can find me on Instagram, My Family Garden. You can find me on YouTube. YouTube's probably the outlet that I put most of my content out on. So I put a video out a week on addressing specific topics. So last week's video was on pruning chili plants and trying to get the maximum out of your chili plants, and how to care for chili plants as well. But I do tutorials on building new gardens from scratch. And I'm not one of those fancy guys who spends loads of money and says you need this flash piece of equipment, or you need all of this sort of stuff. I'm not that sort of guy. If it's not free, then I don't normally like using it.
My kind of gardening is gardening on a budget, and it's really recycle, reuse. You have something around your house in the neighborhood that you can grow something in. And so, all right, you all, Instagram, he's my_family_gardener. He also has a YouTube channel, My Family Gardener, and Mothin is also on Instagram. Well, you all, thank you so much for joining us. We were live, and we are live in Leeds, England. I thank you so much, Moten. And did you want to have? Do you have any closing remarks or anything that you'd like to say or share, or how can we support the work that you're doing?
No, I really appreciate you inviting me on tonight and joining us. So, for those of you on my channel, and we are broadcasting across multiple platforms today. It's the first time I've tried something like this, so if I have ignored you, I do apologise. And thanks for joining us tonight. I mean, you can find me on for those of you who don't know me. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. YouTube's probably the place to find me the best. And if anyone does want to, I mean, Karina, you know that it's not easy, it's not cheap to run a YouTube channel or this kind of social media outlet. It takes a lot of work. So I produce videos on Patreon. So if anyone would like to support me on Patreon, it starts at $3 a month, but I produce exclusive content for patrons on there as well. There you go.
All right, so there is where we find him on Instagram, on Patreon, YouTube. Lots of very useful and helpful gardening tips on YouTube and Instagram. I'm not on Twitter, so I can't comment on Twitter, but I have seen the value that you're adding to the community, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that you saw fit to address a need outside of your community, and I commend you for that. And thank you for the space and the awareness. Thank you for bringing awareness in the gardening space about diversity and the space that they don't see a lot of us occupying. So I hats off to you. We are all trying to forge our way. I know there's a number of people here on both of our channels and platforms that are kind of paving the way for gardening and growing in this green space or green world. Well, you all, that is it for our show. We are live every Saturday. And again, as I always say, please like, comment, or share if you find value in the content that we're doing. And that's anybody that's on Instagram, to help them spread the word, help them get their messaging out. Like, comment, share. That boosts our algorithm and gets us in front of more people. If you know somebody that you would like to see on Live from the Garden, let me know. Have them send us a DM. I'd love to go all across the world. My goal is to show you that you can grow in any green space, that you can grow small, large, big backyard, rooftop, wherever it is. I hope to inspire you to get out and get growing through these tours. They give you ideas and that hopefully inspire you. So thank you for watching. If you found this episode inspiring, please tell others about the Live from the Garden series. For more information and inspiring stories and DIY growing tips, visit letuslive.org. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll see you live from the garden next time. Thank you so much, and you all have a wonderful and beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Take care. Right. I'm gonna. So.
Okay. So did you? I can pop over here and answer any.
So I'm back to you guys over here. I'm gonna just call it. Thanks everyone for coming on and joining us. So it's been a little bit disorientating today, speaking on two different cameras at the same time. So it's been a little bit odd, but thanks for your patience, and I'll see you again next Saturday. Good luck with the England match, everyone. Hope you don't get too nervous. I mean, I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. So I'll see you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Go on.
I don't care who wins or what. I just hope Italy wins because they invented pizza and I like pizza.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the time. I thank you so much for your audience.
All right, take care. Bye.
Okay,
Bye.